On this podcast, we will talk about the tools we have used in order to remind us who and what we are.
We will talk about the spiritual technologies that bring us back to the knowing that we are sovereign.
That bring us back to God. The only actual advice you will get on this podcast is to consult within.
The rest is all the things that happen when you do it.
My name is Jasai.
And my name is Stori.
And this is Sovereign You. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. Welcome to Sovereign You. My name is Jasai.
My name is Stori.
And today we are going to be talking about where you get your wisdoms, how wisdom comes to you, how you acquire it, what kind of life experience you've had that makes all of this profound wisdom available to you. You into it?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Fantastic. So before we get started, today's holy inquiry.
Okay.
Which is
it?
It's a good one. It's a good one. Hold on. It's a good one.
Thank you for always preparing those.
You know what? You're so welcome.
That takes effort.
You know what? And I know that one day you're going to be like, Mom, I have a holy inquiry for you. So, you know.
Oh, okay. Is that what's next? Okay.
One day. What is your love language?
Ooh, I have so many. Definitely words of affirmation, but words of affirmation has to also be aligned with actions of affirmation. So, yeah, when you say the right things and you do the right thing.
Okay. Alignment.
Yes. Physical touch. Obviously, like, gifts, but, like, I'm not really, like, take me shopping type of person. Mm-hmm. Maybe because I've just never had that or whatever. Okay. But
you could turn into that.
So, yeah, I could see how that could work out. But
okay.
But I'm more so, like, thoughtful, like, if you made me something or, like, you know, if you grew me something, like a plant or something and gave it to me, that would be really sweet. Yeah, surprises.
You like surprises.
Yes. Because life feels like that, right? So, like, when you have an experience or, you know, you enter a day and you're like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a great day. I'm having a great day. And it's like, whoop, somebody thought about me and I didn't even know.
Yes. You like all the love languages.
I love everything.
You love love.
I love love.
Give me the love. I love it.
Yeah.
Love languages. Love according to the test.
Okay.
And then I checked my checker. Acts of service.
Yes, absolutely. Me too.
I am overwhelmed when people do even the smallest kindness for me. I really am like, wow. We were in New York this past weekend and I was there by myself. And you know, we almost at the end now, so I got a program. But the way these ladies stayed and helped me unpack, pull down racks, pull down beads, organize and I didn't even know what to do with myself. I was like, I am free for the whole evening. I did not have to open those beads or those racks again after I left that location. And I felt loved.
Yeah.
And thank you to the ladies who helped because
I don't see, the thing is, this might be weird. I'm definitely an acts of service giver, but am I an acts of service receiver? I don't know, because I feel like that might be like the control mechanism in me sometimes. Like, if you don't do it right, don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay, we different right there. Okay, yeah.
It has to be done right. Like, there's a right way to serve me, for sure.
It's the queen in you.
Yes, there's a correct way to do it. If you are not going to do it correctly, don't.
Okay. All right, well, then there you go.
Yeah.
Acts of service for me is it. The other ones, for a quick rundown, like physical touch, not my thing. And not much to the chagrin of lots of people I've been in relationships, just not my thing. I'll do it if that's their thing, but not my thing. And then gifts. No, because I guess I'm like you with the gifts thing. I don't want a lot of things.
Yeah, just make something. Make it special.
Yeah. So, yeah, acts of service is for sure 100% up there. So, this clip. I came across this clip and I was blown away, frankly, by this gentleman's take on where wisdom comes from. And so I sent that to you so we can bandy about some ideas. So I just want to play this clip so the audience can hear what this gentleman said.
Okay.
Hopefully it plays immediately.
Wise. Next time you meet somebody who's just full of all this insight and all this knowledge and all this revelation and all this clarity, ask them what they've been through. Because let me tell you something. It takes suffering to get wisdom. Wisdom is costly. Wisdom comes from pain. Wisdom comes from lessons in life. Wisdom comes from mistakes. Wisdom comes from all types and all forms of suffering. Wisdom don't come cheap. Next time you meet somebody who's wise,
all right, so that grabbed me.
Nice.
So my first question is, what has it cost you to become so wise at such a young age? What have you had to pay for the wisdoms that you own now?
I would say it's a lot of things, and it started mostly when I was young. I feel like this is why I feel like maybe in the world right now we're living in the age of the Black woman, because honestly, growing up as a young Black woman, you get we just overheard somebody talking about being Black on her call or in her class. Mm-hmm. Black women across America and really across the world have been taught to be smaller, lessen themselves, get a smaller nose, get lighter skin, get thinner hair, all those things. And so when you really learn to embrace yourself, so much wisdom comes from that, right? Just going against the grain of, okay, I'm just not going to be those things. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be who I naturally am. That is my mindfulness bell, so we're going to turn that off. But, yeah, or even stuff like that. My mindfulness bell, I got that from you. You used to have mindfulness bells on your phone. But to his point, I think that some wisdoms do come through pain, and some wisdoms do just come from listening to somebody who is wise, and just seeing the effects of their teachings in their life, and seeing, observing that and seeing how that will practicing and seeing how that will affect your life. But I will say that when it comes to the wisdoms that I've received from you, I have learned how valuable they were in comparison to other people. Like when I was younger and I would listen to you and, you would tell me to do certain things, or I would observe you. I think it just felt like, oh, that's just my mom. That's just how she operates. Until I got around some other moms and I was like, oh.
That could be different. That could go different.
So let me do what she's doing real quick.
And we do have to, I think a lot of people, so there is this thing in parenting.
And I was just going to say, so I guess in that way, in the experience of those other mothers, I guess I did face a few challenges.
Yeah. You really, I think in parenting, from the parenting angle, sometimes that's scary for parents. Like we try to really curate who our kids can engage because we don't want them to be negatively influenced or wrongly influenced. But I have found, raising you and your brother, that because you can't really, I'm not going to be with you everywhere you go. I'm not going to be able to be like, no, not that one, no, not that one. And the reasons why I would say, no, not this person or that person, have everything to do with me personally.
Yeah.
But I don't really know who you are at your core fundamentally. You belong to you, and I don't know all the parts of you. So I think that what I've found helpful is, well, you choose your friends, and then we have the experience of those friends together, which is to say you're sharing with me what that's like. You're sharing with me how it goes at their house. You're sharing with me the conversations they have. And then we can talk about that. Yeah. We can be like, oh, does that make sense? How does that feel? Because that is a great place for kids to learn in other people's families, inside other people's bubbles.
And especially in spaces where you are loved. You know what I'm saying? Because then there's the aspect of love too. There's the aspect of, okay, this might be a challenging situation, but there's so much love here. There's so much care here in certain aspects that you're able to learn from a more grounded perspective.
Okay.
Like there is different ways of being in which people can survive and feel loved and feel cared for. And it's not necessarily going to reflect your experience, but it gives you compassion for so many different kinds of people that you just become a better person from that overall.
The wisdom of compassion.
Yeah.
Like the wisdom of just simply being a compassionate person, really, because it allows you to stay in spaces and learn.
Yeah.
When you're not judgmental of people, even if you wouldn't do what they do, you do get so much information because you have the capacity and the compassion to just be present for what is happening.
And I guess this plays into, wisdom as well. Certain places that I've been in my life have given me a whole different world view. And so even when I think about or follow politics and I think about our leaders, I'm like, there are so many rooms with the kind of policies that they push. There are so many rooms they just have not been in
ever.
And you know that with their the stance that they take on certain people's, way of living or, who these people are fundamentally, they don't know, but they create policy around lives and situations that they've never even experienced or been in or around.
And so if a politician was a wise politician, you feel like they would expose themselves, or do you have to sort of be a kind of person that is exposed and then that makes you wise? You can't just go out and be like, well, let me have this experience and
right. So I don't think that that's necessary, but I think that, this obviously could be a whole different conversation, but I think simply, that's why we have to have more diversity in politics, because they need advisors. They need people who have been on the ground. You know what I'm saying? That have seen certain things that could advise, I don't really think that this is appropriate.
Yeah, or you're not seeing the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think this is appropriate given these people's particular circumstance. And you could have seen certain ways of living and ways of being and still not know things as a whole. But if you've never been to some of these places, then you really don't know.
Yeah.
More recently, my wisdoms have come from my personal financial mistakes.
Okay.
And I feel like sitting in that and being in the experience of that and really coming to the point in the end of something that I've been working towards for what I realized the other day for 3 years.
Oh.
Right? Because I moved into my apartment and then I had an abundance of money from saving. But from that point, I had been trying to get back to saving. But again, I didn't know what it took to take care of yourself, right?
So you're learning, have a job, and that teaches.
And all those things, and still have fun. And, and my idea of fun at the time, obviously that shifted now with the lessons that I've learned. But what I've learned is that, or what I had to learn to acquire the wisdom that I have now is that, you have to go through the experience of having to take care of yourself in order to really know how to take care of yourself. Because I realized okay, having my money saved, but then paying bills, but then, working and all those things, I just could not find a way to save at that time. And although I was good and afloat, at some point that was to my detriment because, emergencies happen, things happen. And, sometimes even last minute plans that sound super, super fun, but you can't afford, and you're just like, well, I'm doing that anyway.
Oh, because you learn from that.
And yeah, you learn from that too. So it's just I've learned so many things about how to monitor my money, but ultimately it came from how to monitor my emotions, how to monitor, my inclination to have a thought and be moved by that because I've put my emotion behind it. And so now literally I'm in motion towards that, regardless of what the funds look like. And even in that process, also just feeling oh, well, I can make it happen. And you realize you can.
But at what cost?
You can make pretty
Anything.
much anything you want happen. But there is, again, like you said, there's a cost to that.
Yeah.
And so, I'm now in the experience of that. And like I said, coming to the end of what all of that accumulatively has.
I'm gonna go with cumulatively.
Yeah, accumulatively. It's a big word. What that all has now been a 3-year period, coming to the end of that and realizing, oh wow, now I'm gonna have a savings, and now I'm going to be able to pay my bills on time and do all these things that I was doing before, but now even better, like
yes, with this
now
information.
Now having had the wisdom, but even better, now I'm able to actually have a savings. Because before, when I had a savings, I didn't have no bills.
Yeah, I guess so.
I didn't have no bills.
No, none. No rent.
Credit
no food.
didn't have no credit, didn't have nothing. And now that I have all those things, I'm like, oh, you have to become, back to the wisdom, you have to become a whole different person to acquire the things that I was acquiring.
So that's it. That's one of the major features of, wise people. They transform. They're a transformed version of their former selves. And they're transformed by their experience.
Yes.
My experience has taught me, you just don't want to buy everything you see, buy everything that tickles your fancy, or you just don't want to let everybody in your circle.
That's dangerous.
You don't want to.
Because I also have a plan for myself, right? So my plan is, I don't know. I have a plan for myself, but also the age 25 has always like set a ring in my ear. Like for some reason, 25 is like, God is like, trying to tell you, it's 25.
Be ready.
25 is coming. And then you hear like all these things, I hear because I follow politics and things like that and economists, 25 is also supposed to be projected like a downturn economically.
Listen, I ain't got nothing to do with you.
Like the year that I turned 25, that's like a projected downturn because of how our economy is going right now. But at the same time, I'm just like, I've also thought to myself, because now that I'm working my part-time job, and that's really what's been also fueling, and supporting me reach my goals. I was like, people who are successful have always had to face adversity. That's always be some level of adversity. There's never been, everything was great. The economy was great. Everything was thriving, Yeah,
because if everything's on your side at all times,
I'm just like
you're just
that.
floating. You're not learning. You're just
I'm just
floating.
like, that's not possible. That can't be what was possible for everybody who's successful today.
Absolutely not.
So at the end of the day, I'm going to face adversity. There are going to be challenges, and like I said, I have a plan for myself. So I know that in order to be successful, I have to follow people who are successful. And I don't mean on Instagram, and I don't mean, looking all deep into their lives.
What do you mean?
Because that's not going to make you successful. I mean, you have to, you can read articles, you can read autobiographies, really invest your time and energy into the spaces where successful people have offered up their keys to success.
Do you talk to people like who you feel like are in your real life, in your everyday life, like people you know a lot of people, like people who you feel like are successful in their fields? Do you probe? Do you feel comfortable asking people what has made them successful or what? You don't do that?
No, I don't do that. I listen to mostly like if I'm really listening to somebody, it'll be like in a rap song, like Nipsey Hussle or Jay-Z or something like that. But other than that, I know for a fact, even through the books that I've read and the people who I've like overheard in interviews or whatever the case is, your path to success is your own.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that you have to invest your time in these people in the spaces that they've offered for particular keys to success, just so you can, I feel like it allows you to like loosen up your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? So even when I went to the Beyonce concert and she has a song and she was like, I done been broke, I done been this, I'm like, Beyonce done been broke?
I mean.
So it just makes you feel
she
like.
Wasn't born
it just
rich.
So like I said, so with the age 25, I'm just like, it doesn't necessarily, like my savings, because my plan is to save and invest. It doesn't necessarily have to happen exactly at 25, but I just feel like it will. But but I'm still like, just keep going. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like in my process, I've definitely learned that I am on my own in that the only key and way for me to be successful is for me to invest my time in the things that I'm interested in, the things that light me up. But I also do, like I said, read books and watch interviews and things like that for insight.
Okay, so what is the wisest bit of advice that you have taken as your own in like the last year? Like a wisdom that you've picked up from somewhere or that you've had a conversation with somebody about and you thought, you know what, I'm going to incorporate that in my life, and then that wisdom coming from the outside has turned into a benefit for you?
I would say lately I actually texted somebody a quote that was from a Nipsey Hussle song called Face the World, and he said, it's ups and downs for a real nigga.
Okay.
But you'll be lame all your life, hater. That is
explain that to me.
So basically it's just like at the end of the day, like if you're going to be successful, you know there's ups and downs.
Okay.
You know there's ups and downs. And so when you're experiencing your down, just don't stay down.
Okay.
You can't stay down for no reason at all. And you have to learn from your mistakes. And if you don't learn from your mistakes, what are you doing?
Here. What are you doing here?
You know? And that's also a perfect, tribute to the fact that like somebody could see what you're going through and be like, oh, this person is late on this, or this person is, behind on this, or this person is,
that's a lot of talking for somebody that
whoever
ain't you.
Talks. Okay. This person is not tracking, in the line of success the way that we thought they would. Or if you're just paying too close attention to somebody else and what they got going on, that's what the second part of the verse is like, but you'll be lame all your life, hater. Like, you can't look at somebody else's experience and be like, they're not doing enough, or, you can't even feel internally. I think that's more so of an internal pressure because socially there are people who pick at other people. Even if they're picking at others, you feel like that could be attributed to you.
Yeah.
So
that's not, I don't think that's really happening directly.
So you just have to you have to just be on your journey and understand that there's ups and downs, and not judge yourself or feel like you'll be judged by others for being down at a particular moment, because you just can't stay down. You can be down. You can be ignorant. You can be all the things. Mm-hmm. But as long as you relieve yourself of ignorance and as long as you don't stay down, then you're successful.
I like that. Yeah, one of the things that I have encountered over and over again and then didn't really solidify in my mind and life until maybe I was in my 30s is that very thing you mentioned. Like this idea that other people, some magical, mysterious other is looking at me, checking for me, judging what I'm doing. Like there are no others. In that regard, in my life, I have had to just decide there are no others. Anytime that creeps up in me, that's me. That's my subconscious judgment. That's the thing I'm thinking, other people are thinking, still my thought.
Yeah.
That freedom from that literally affords you whole avenues in which to begin to explore and to become and to take chances. Because
I feel like that thought alone will keep you paralyzed.
Oh, yeah.
It will keep you from being successful. It will make you feel like, well, now that I'm in this financial position, things are tough for me or things are tight for me and I don't know how to move forward. You don't even conceive how to move forward because you're just so pressed about, being tight here. Or like I would say, like people feel like that too when they have to close down their brick and mortar or they have to close down their business. They're like, what will the people around here think about me closing my business? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, what if it's time to close that to open something else?
Like you just have to surrender. And that's what I realized. You have to surrender to where you're at. And it's so funny, like when I decided to stop spending money, like obviously, I mean, I don't know if it's obvious, but I have one friend like that I'm really, really close with and I do everything with. And we were spending a lot of money together. You know what I'm saying? And I thought to myself for a minute, like, dang, if I stop, going out and like spending money with her, will she stop being my friend?
You had to risk it.
And it's like, at the end of the day, like, I can't be spending money just to kick it with people. And I love her and she still loves me and everything's fine and everything's great. And I've told her, like, I've finally gotten to the point where I can tell her, like, no, I can't. Like, I'm not doing that.
And it's easy. And when people love you for real and they know what your goal, because everybody has goals. They're not all the same.
Even family events. Because at this point, like I said, I have a plan for myself. I'm not playing. So it's like, even family events, if you don't let me know ahead of time, I'm not going. Like,
because that makes sense. I think that it's inspiring to people. It teaches you a lot about who you are and how you are and what you need to do in order to be the best version of you possible. But people are watching, and people do have goals, and people do have difficulties. And when they see people that they know and love taking a stand and overcoming their difficulties and standing 10 toes down and not moving and, staying on their base, they're like, oh, that's possible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's possible, because I don't know a single person that doesn't have difficulty meeting their utmost goals and psychological difficulties. Like,
and I almost got emotional because it's like my stepmom had invited me to my little brother's birthday 5 days before his birthday party. I'm not going. I'm sorry.
And you can explain that to people. You can. And when you explain, because that's where the compassion comes in. When you explain, people understand.
Because I'm just like, at that point, I don't feel like you respect my time, Like, if you don't let me know, like, at least like 2 weeks or a month ahead of time.
And it's not even that.
It's
sometimes
like, I'm not doing anything last minute. I can't be the afterthought.
And again, I don't even know that it's personal. And I think that life teaches you that, because one day you'll be the person to invite somebody at the last minute. Maybe you forgot. Maybe you've had a lot of stuff on your mind. Maybe your life is crazy. So you do learn, it's not even the most negative reason why. Sometimes things just happen the way they happen.
Yeah.
And then you have to decide, but what's the reality of my life? So even though this happened the way it happened, the reality of my life is I can't really move like that. And when you love people, you teach them how to engage you so that you have healthy relationships.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, I was telling somebody this the other day, like, what was the word I was using? But the kind of energy that you have to exert yourself towards, and the kind of energy that you have to put forth in order to stay afloat and work off debt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's powerful.
I'm not playing no games. I'm not playing no games.
It is. I'm
going to give all my energy that I have to give to work off this debt. And I'm going to give it all at once. We're not giving no breaks. It's all gas.
And just to be fair, because everybody comes to this planet to learn different things, you're very serious about your money and being debt free and having your money back. A lot of people aren't. That's not their main priority.
I know. And I've heard, I've seen TikToks, and this is why you have to be careful with comparison and where you get your wisdom and where you get your information, because you can you can see somebody else's experience and think, oh, I can relax on that because this person has $80,000 worth of debt. Or this person, I would throw up. Let me tell you.
And I'm going to tell you, so many people.
Or people be like, I got $150,000 worth of debt. Who? Do you make $300,000 a year?
And if you told somebody how much debt you had, if you shared with the audience how much debt you had, let me tell you, because of the way we're programmed in our culture, most people would be like, oh, that baby is cute.
No,
but it's really important that you know where your level of comfort is. That you know, this little amount of debt that y'all think is little, totally too much for me. Because that's how you don't land in $100,000 worth of debt. Because your experience has taught you, $2,000 makes me tight.
Because I don't have no property. So what kind of debt do I have?
Dinner.
Is this debt making money?
No.
This debt is not making money. I'm not doing that.
And so your wisdoms in life have already taught you that if you're going to have debt, it should make money.
So it can pay itself off. Because I'm not about to be working hard to pay this debt off now.
All your wisdoms currently are around money, and I like it.
No, they aren't. No, but I would say that that's where I am right now. But no, lots of my wisdoms have to do with like worldview. Like right now I'm studying this resonance science course.
Oh, yes.
And so that has to do with like how physics and the metaphysical come together.
Okay.
a lot of my wisdoms come around or surrounded around discipline, which also could be. But the thing is, everything ties together.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. So right now I'm doing a 30-day challenge doing yoga.
Oh,
every day.
Oh, I haven't
for
had a 30 day.
days.
What day are you on?
2.
Okay. All right.
Day
Listen,
2.
you gotta have a day 2. You gotta have a day 2.
Some of my wisdoms too come around food, you know what I'm saying, and like how to eat. And again, that goes back to discipline as well, because I feel like a lot of the times, especially with being, having financial debt and like figuring out, okay, what's affordable to eat right now, right? And sometimes what I'm realizing is that like what's affordable to eat is not good for you at all. Like it's so bad for you. And I'm so centered towards health too that that's frustrating.
Now, so because I've had to change my framework, I've gained some wisdoms about my framework around food and around eating and around meals. And really what I've been listening to some people talk about health and wellness. Joshua put me on to some new people. And I'm realizing that what we consider a meal, our conception of a meal or food is very, very specific. And really food is things that come from God in the ground are edible, nutritious. So when I'm hungry, I don't think in meals anymore. I'm like, I'm going to eat a nectarine. I'm going to eat an apple. I'm going to eat an orange.
Right.
So there is no meal I need to have.
Yeah, no, that does not work for me. And I've tried that too, but I have to sit there and make beads all day. And the thing about fruits, and maybe I should incorporate more vegetables too when I'm just going on straight fruit. But fruits give you a very high frequency electrical energy.
Yes.
And so when you eat a lot of fruit, you're not about to sit there and make I'm not about to sit there and make 50, 60, 20 beads because I just feel like zippy. I feel, I just feel like I'm floating. Like I don't feel grounded in any way.
I love that. And I think that because I've been having this practice that helps me ground that, like be there and stay there and hold myself there. It's a neat little trick these days for me. Okay.
Yeah, I do not like that at all. So a lot of the times
I feel
eat
like
food that
I
have
to ground you.
Eat foods that weigh me down so that when I'm making beads, I'm not thinking about food. And like I said, that's why when you said a lot of your wisdoms have been financial, no, like that food is such a big and large aspect of my life right now that I'm like trying to negotiate and I'm trying to like work with and understand. But yeah, it's just been a thing.
Okay. Well, then that means there are more wisdoms to come from that avenue, I'm sure.
Yes, hopefully.
It has more to teach you. We are going to move on to our story time.
Okay.
You have an offering this week.
Yes, I have a book called Divine Romance and by
Paramahansa Yogananda.
Yeah, because I don't know how to say his name. But basically, I was reading this book a while ago, and the way it just talks about different topics that relate to your experience from a spiritual perspective, and they connect God. All the topics are connected to God and how God shows up in your life. I really love that. And I remember I was reading one of the sections, and it was getting real personal. I put it down. I said,
Oh, it was feeling personal to you, like they was talking to you.
Like, we're not gonna do that. We're not doing that right now. And I feel like that was the last time I read this book.
The book was in your business.
Yeah, that was the last time I read this book, honestly.
I love that. I love when a book gets in your business. That means God came right up to your nose and was like, knock, knock, tap, tap, tap.
That's awkward.
I like it. All right. So the Divine Romance by Paramahansa Yogananda, if you are looking for. So what it reminds me of is it gives me a bit of a Rumi vibe. So it really is talking about the spiritual relationship between our lives and how God interacts with us in all things, all aspects of our life. And then we have our wisdom owl.
Okay.
So I'm gonna reach over here, all awkward, and grab this here. Oh, it's so funny. So can you talk about the role food has played in your spiritual journey?
That is hilarious. Oh my God. It is so challenging.
Is there another word you can use?
No, because it's challenging me. It's deeply.
Is it revealing?
Because it's revealing.
Yet? Okay.
It's definitely revealing. I feel like I've learned so many things just being raised on, how conscious I am around eating. And I'm very conscious, but I also live in America. And I was also raised as an American. So I've obviously, when I left the house, had lots of things that aren't good for me. And I feel like knowing what I know about food, I developed a taste. I became an addict.
Oh, okay.
I did. But you know what I will say? I went to the grocery store the other day and I was looking at all the drumsticks and all the, drumsticks, the ice cream.
Oh, ice cream. Okay.
Yeah. I was looking at all the drumsticks and all those things and I'm like, I really come in this grocery store and I don't buy those things.
Oh, for sure. Because
I'm so grateful that at least I have the kind of I was raised in a way that keeps me from buying those things. Yeah. Now, if you offered it to me, I probably would eat it.
Take it.
Which is a problem, which is not good. So back to
but it's not as bad as having it in your freezer.
Back to the spiritual aspect. I feel like my discipline around the foods that I eat is not strong right now. And it bothers me a lot because I like to be well. And I, so much of the work that I do, it depends on me being well. It depends on me being disciplined. I remember a client came in the other day and she's a sex offender therapist. Okay. And I was like, oh my God, they need therapists. That's true. So she was like, so when you're a convicted sex offender, you get a court order therapist. And so she's one of those. And so she talked about how she tries to teach them about boundaries, but she's been struggling with her own boundaries, again, around food. Mm-hmm. And what I let her know is that, to a certain extent, you do have to be a little kinder to yourself because you're addicted to those foods. And not only are you craving them, but you have parasites in your body that are craving those foods as well. And I don't think a lot of people know that. And so me personally, I struggle with what food does for me because we talked about in this whole episode about wisdoms. We talk about my work ethic and how I put myself behind my work. The food that I eat, the fuel, is so important. That's one of the largest aspects. So it's like, if I can't get this work done, it's like it's this balance. It's like, get the work done and eat what's available, or eat what you should eat and you feel like you don't get enough of it, or you feel like it's not sustaining you enough to get the work that you need done. So it's like this really weird balance that I'm learning to navigate. But it's been challenging.
What's happening in my head, what's coming to me is, have you maybe, because we talked in the car about exploring cultural foods, exploring foods from other cultures. I think there's so much of the American diet, the standard American diet, the things that sort of are at the front of our minds to just go eat. But if we explored some other cultures, we live in a very, very diverse city.
We live in America, though. I don't trust none of this food. Even when I go to Island Pacific Market and I get the chow mein, it has chicken in it.
But no, I'm talking about foods you can cook. So are you not cooking lately?
No, financially, for a while I could not afford to cook. Straight up, I was just eating what I could order that day because I had like $20, or you feel me?
You can buy potatoes and vegetables with $20, yeah. We're not gonna do this here, but okay. I'm going to
potatoes and vegetables.
Literally, no. Okay, listen, because everybody's different.
Because how long is that really gonna sustain you, though?
I don't know. If you ate a purple yam and sauteed you some vegetables, that's a pretty sturdy vibe for some hours. But your mind doesn't like. If your mind doesn't like it,
or if your mind doesn't even think about it,
right? So that's what I'm saying. So now you got to sort of research. You got to pull yourself in a whole nother direction, because culturally, the things that come to top of mind are kind of not great. But if we dive into other cultures, food choices, food selections, we can see, oh, there are other things.
And I noticed too that like if I feel stressed out, I'm just like I will feel more grounded when I eat something that I really want. Yeah.
Holy. That's it. And people can relate to that. People are like, well, if I'm having a hard time, I'm not finna eat no hard time food. I'm finna eat some good time food. Try to give myself a good time.
I mean, I prefer to save monies, but like I said, your mind doesn't even go there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like if your mind isn't even thinking like, oh, let me go to the store and get potatoes and vegetables.
Maybe a list.
Because now I might do that.
Yeah, maybe a list. So that's the thing. So when I was changing our family's diet, because our family didn't always eat like when you were in middle school and high school. We didn't always eat like that when you were little, when Caleb was younger. So at some point I had to say, you know what? These 5 new things, I'm going to bring these in and incorporate these things. So, because so much of this is programmed. I go in the grocery store, I just go immediately to the aisles I go to get the things I get. You know, it's not, but if you know that that's not working anymore, that's not good, a lot of those things aren't healthy anymore, then the effort, we talked about auto alignment in one of the previous episodes. Well, we can't auto align with a new program until we input a new program and then we practice the new program. So food is definitely like that, because it's so fundamental to who and how we are and what we need, that if we need to make a change, it has to be super deliberate in the beginning. Like when you were younger, junior high school, I spent so much time in this sort of framework of food and health and wellness and what to eat and where to go buy things. And then at some point, it just sort of becomes you. And then you're like, oh no, I grab this. I grab these yams and this squash and this, because there are very hearty, healthy things to eat. But if they're not top of mind, then you're like, no.
And I'm like, how do I cook this? I'm hungry right now. Like,
and that's
I need
why
to work.
That's why you have a practice. If you on a whatever day you might have a little more time, you make one new recipe. Not when you're starving, not when you're frustrated, but like a food exploration day. I'm going to figure out what these people in this grocery store do with purple yams. What do people do with squash? What do people do not when there's nothing on the line? Now, if everything is on the line in the moment, you got to work, you hungry, that's not the time to do that.
That's like every day, though.
You're going to have to work that out.
That's literally every single day. I work 15, 16 hours a day.
You're going to have to, because it's clearly a thing. So you're going to have to figure out a time to incorporate some new things. If you need some help off camera, I'm happy to help you pull that together. For me, food, I think incorporating the fasting in the my early 30s was really valuable for me. It helped me know I'm not going to die. I mean, that's what it taught me. Fasting taught me you're hungry. You are. It is real. This is real hunger, but I bet if you don't eat right now, you're not going to die. And then knowing I'm not going to die gives me a little more room to like make a clearer choice. But again, you got to practice that. You got to practice being with that physical feeling, the physical feeling of like, I'm going to fall.
Or even like I've been really frustrated. I get frustrated anytime I eat at my other job. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not even gonna say what it's called. I get frustrated when I eat it, and I realize that I eat there because I don't want to be there. God bless them, and I do my job well, but I literally eat because I don't want to be there.
Oh,
so it's like a great pastime.
I see. Okay,
and I'm like, oh, not my body.
But you
I can't treat my body like a dumpster because I don't want to be here.
Yeah, but you can see that. And you're getting wisdoms from that. You get it. You can see.
Oh my gosh. Like when I think about like the times that I used to, just all my time was my time and I wasn't at this other job, I'd be just
so grateful,
dreaming about it. And I'm just like, I cannot wait. Not even to return there because, again, I wasn't spending my money appropriately.
Right.
You know? So I don't even want to go back to that.
I just want to be in a new place.
I know the new place that I'm heading to is just going to be so much better. Like when I'm there on Saturday nights and I go outside and it's so nice outside, I was like, I remember when I used to just be free.
And you're still free. You're just choosing to do this with your freedom.
Jesus Christ.
Right. Because you could not choose it. You could be like, forget it. I'm going to just let these things linger and I'm going to
No. Ew. Who would I be in 15 years if I did that?
Listen. And that's because you're looking ahead.
I'm sorry to everybody who does their best in life. But I just know for me, that's not going to work.
Well, listen, and that's what's important for you to know, what works for you. So yes, if you are in a thick place, a tight space in your life right now, if things are feeling like, ooh, which is a lot of people, we talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people are in some ooh-wee tight spaces in their lives. Know that wisdom you can glean wisdoms from this place. If you're paying attention, if you're really being compassionate towards yourself and others in this place where you are, this is where wisdom grows. This is the garden of wisdom, difficult places where it feels like you might be suffering, that if you anchor yourself to the reality of the moment that you're in and just look at it and know that nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. And so while you're here to see that thing super, super clearly, so you don't have to show up here
and
again.
You have to face difficulty. You can't just disregard difficult moments and difficult times. Because even when we get in the fear of, and I started comparing my situation to like a depression, you know what I'm saying? Economies go through depressions. Whole, systems that take care of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people go through cycles of ups and downs. And so if you don't embrace that as if you're isolated from that, as if that can't happen to you, or if you don't embrace that as something that can happen and does happen, then you won't be able or strong enough to face it. And so I've just been embracing it, and I've definitely become so much closer to God in this time. And when I reflect on the whole situation again, when I really reflect and I realize it's been 3 years, I'm just like, I am so strong. Like, I am really grabbing myself out of the delusion that was spending all of my limited resources.
And it is a delusion. And honey, most of the Western world lives in the delusion that they can just keep spending money they don't have and sleep well and be able to do it again the next day. And it's not real. That thing is going to get tight.
Like, it's even when I think about those like loan agencies all over every corner.
That's why they exist.
Don't do that. Don't just stop spending money. It's okay. It's okay if you just stop.
But it does feel like something.
Or like that video that we watched earlier today when that lady was like, it's going to be too expensive to eat. Her hair was done. Her nails was done.
Listen.
Girl, slow down.
Listen. We love y'all. We are grateful for the challenge that offers us the opportunity to, have some perspective and some insight and ultimately some wisdom. Clearly this is one we could talk about because there's opportunity everywhere. There's opportunity everywhere in this life to notice, to engage, to witness ourselves and others if we learn like that and learn some new things that will be of benefit to us. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you would like to watch this podcast, we are on YouTube at the Alaya Waist Beads channel. You can see this and all episodes of the Sovereign You podcast there. We are also on all of your podcast channels, wherever you get your podcast. And then you can find us on social media at Sovereign You Pod. Thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Yes.
My presence is a present. This moment is a gift. My joy is now. My presence is a present. This moment is a gift. My joy is now.